Good morning on this Friday, July 17, 2015. It's time now for the Elder Law Report. Greg McIntyre, Elder Law Attorney, is here with us this morning from Shelby, North Carolina. Good morning to you, Greg.
Good morning, Milton. How are you doing?
Doing fine, doing fine. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. It's glad to be back in Shelby today. I came in late last night from the beach. I've been down there with my parents.
Yeah, and I missed you last week because I was at the beach last week.
Well, Calvin and I had a good time. We had Alan Langley was at the beach. He did a little. He was our crack shark attack reporter last week. We had a little fun with it last week.
Yeah.
Luckily, I avoided the sharks this week, and nobody out of my family got bitten. But I did kill a few sharks yesterday with some golf balls playing golf.
I don't. That's a golf thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe hit a few in the water.
Oh, okay, gotcha. You went in the water.
My dad and I were playing. He thought that when we went to the beach, it means we had to hit the ball in the sand all the time. So I had fun playing with my dad in the sand yesterday.
Okay.
But talking a little bit today about role reversals, about trading places. You seen that movie Trading Places?
Yes.
With
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Sure.
That's a good movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about a little bit different type of trading places today. It's like I said, I was with my parents. I'm lucky enough to still have my parents, and they're still as sharp as a tack as they ever were. I mean, they're so sharp. But so many people, now, your parents raise you, and then you end up having to take care of one or both of them as they age. And how should you prepare for that? What should you do? What should the parents do? Just in case that transition needs to happen. What should the children do to ensure that they have the tools to be able to handle mom and dad's affairs? So, your parents, they raise you, they feed you, they nurture you, they clothe and love you, cook for you, change your dirty diapers, right? Worry about, they worry to death about you all the time. I'm sure I worried my parents to death, especially when I was a teenager, I'm sure. They take you to church, work their fingers to the bone to make money, to take care of you, send you to college. Some parents, even send their kids to college. I think we pamper kids too much now, really. We don't let them be independent early enough. But, they take you on vacation just like my parents did, right? They just do all kind of things for you. Even, I was just looking, and thank you to my wife, by the way, Stephanie, for doing some research in preparation for today's show. She was looking up, and we were talking about just some crazy, outlandish things that parents have done for their children. And she was looking at a couple of different sources. According to Wednesday magazine, in April 2010, mother Nikki Carpenter in Yazoo City, Mississippi, placed mattresses over her 3 sons, laid down on top of them during a tornado. And she ended up, unfortunately, passing herself, but saved her kids.
Really?
To do that. That's right.
Goodness.
That's the extraordinary things that a mother will do for her children. Right?
Man.
Angela Cavallo pulled her 1964 Chevy Impala off her son. We've all heard about that one, right? The adrenaline, pulled it off her son after the jack collapsed and the car fell off. Okay? Yeah. And, mothers, parents can just do amazing things, to take care of and protect their children. Well, I think we should return the favor.
Absolutely, yes.
And we got to know that those things are coming. That day's coming, potentially. And just to give you just a few facts on that, I'd love for callers to call in. Milton, can you give them the number?
I absolutely will. It's 704-482-1390, 435-2844, or 735-8071. Those are the regular lines that you use every day for contests, swap shop, or whatever. Use those same numbers to call in and talk to Greg. 704-482-1390. 435-2844, 735-8071. Greg, if they got a question, comment they want to make, they can ask you.
What I'd love to focus on today is that role reversal, taking care of parents. How do we do it? What kind of legal documents need to be in place to make sure you can handle bank accounts, make healthcare decisions? Should a living will be in place? That's an important decision. The will. Should we do some deed planning to make sure properties are passing the right way? Because if you wait too late, you're in a guardianship type situation. And that's the situation we want to avoid. Not that guardianships are horrible things. They just take longer to put in place. They're more costly for the individual. If you wait to the point where mom or dad, say, is incapacitated, something like that, when you need it the most, when you need somebody to act on your behalf the most, sometimes you're not in the condition to give that consent under the law. So we want to put those things at a low cost in place ahead of time for the senior and for the children who might be taking care of those seniors. Just to give you some Alzheimer's and dementia facts, that's such a powerful thing these days, and just affects so many seniors. It's the 6th leading cause of death in the U.S., okay? 1 in 3 seniors die with Alzheimer's or some other type of dementia. So we want to plan ahead for this. Almost 2/3 of Americans with Alzheimer's are women. So women are especially in danger. I don't know why that is. Do you?
No idea. Heard, a theory or two about it, but nothing, I know they don't know what causes it, or they'd be working in that regard to...
That's a great point. It's the only one of the top 10 causes of death in the U.S. that does not cannot be prevented or slowed. It cannot be cured, prevented, or slowed. Okay? The only one. So we know so little about... Women statistically live longer. I mean, perhaps that's one of the reasons, is they're living longer.
And women or men can live a long time with the disease.
Oh, gosh. I mean, your body can far outlive your mind in that situation.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, a lot of times needing care in a secure facility, a special facility that deals with that type of issue. And you need to plan for that and for the costs that are involved or protecting assets to prevent everything from being spent down, really. So we just know so little about it, and those are some things we need to prepare for.
And, Greg, and again, we would love for people to call us, and call right now if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Chance to talk to Greg McIntyre here, who is an elder law professional, free professional advice here. Greg, can they still call your office for a 1-hour consultation? Are you still doing that at this time?
That's right, Milton. Code word radio. If they call my office and give the code word radio, it's 704-259-7040. We can schedule a free consultation to meet with them in my office, or we can go to them. Unlike most doctors today, I still do house calls, okay? In fact, we lined up a house call close by in this area with a caller from last week.
Okay. All right, so callers, give us a ring on the regular phone lines here, 704-482-1390, 435-2844, 735-8071. Especially want to talk about, as Greg's been outlining, the role reversal, the children, the grown children who may be now in their 40s, 50s, or even older, taking care of elderly parents who need to be looked after. And this could be something, Greg, that the parent could live with the child, the grown child. They could live in a nursing home. They could live on their own still even. But you're there. You have to be there now to be there for that parent.
The senior wants to stay independent. We want the senior to stay independent for as long as possible, okay? No matter what the situation is. We want them to stay independent. We want them to stay in control of their assets, of everything. But we want to plan for the situation should they need any type of care. And what should you have in place ahead of time to ensure that you protected those things you worked for your whole life and you get the best care. And that your children, for instance, are able to go through that role reversal and you take a lot of the guilt-ridden decisions off their shoulders. You go ahead and appoint them as the power of attorney to handle bank accounts, even cable bill, power bill, handle protection of the home, pay the mortgage, whatever needs to be done, that we go ahead and have those things in place, okay? even a husband and a wife should have those things in place for each other, so that they can handle each other's accounts.
Yes, let's say there's a husband and wife. Something happens. There's an accident, and they're not really that old. I mean, it can happen at any age.
It can happen.
But the other spouse, they need constant care.
Right.
You know, in an ideal situation, the spouse who is well and healthy and all will be there to look after them. I know that doesn't always happen,
Sure.
but if they love each other and they're devoted to each other, they would be there to look after the injured or incapacitated other spouse who may be that way the rest of their life. Is that a situation that you can deal with?
It is, and if you have the powers of attorney in place, healthcare power of attorney, so that the doctors, healthcare facilities, professionals know exactly who to turn to make decisions. There's no argument among siblings, among kids, among whoever, to who's going to make that decision, or those healthcare decisions. So there's no confusion there. You have one chief appointed among all the Indians, and you're able to make those important healthcare decisions in a very timely manner. Sometimes time means life or death. You know, when decisions are made on different healthcare issues that need to be, or you know, just healthcare decisions that need to be made regarding treatment. So you want to have that in place ahead of time. General durable powers of attorney, so that the husband or wife can handle the accounts for each other. You know, my wife, I've said before, I can't handle my cell phone bill because I set it up. You know, and you know, well, whoever the carrier might be, you know, wouldn't talk to her and wouldn't allow her to, you know, change things unless she had access to do it. So that's a simple example. You know, banks can even have much more stringent, and rightly so, I guess, measures in place to prevent the wrong person from coming in and moving money from your accounts or handling your accounts. So
I mean, even calling a doctor's office now.
Right.
You can't do that, really.
HIPAA regulations are so strict and tight now as to who they'll give information out to or give medical records to. So that's an important reason to go ahead and have those things in place ahead of time. So that's what we want to do, is help seniors at a very low cost, comparatively to not waiting. When it really costs, or when you really understand what I'm talking about and what you need, is sometimes when it's too late. Okay.
Say a person who's an older person, they have more than one child, and something happens to them. They have a heart attack, they have a stroke. They're not totally incapacitated, but they can't look after themselves. After the fact, after the heart attack, after the stroke, and they say, well, I want son number one to look after me and to get, they will get this and they will get that. Can the other children, daughter number one, daughter number two, son number two, whatever, can they, after the fact, after the heart attack, after the stroke, can they say, well, he's not of sound mind or sound body? Can they challenge something that the parent has decreed after an illness?
I think, yes. Short answer is yes. Could you challenge something that a parent had set up beforehand? I think you could. Okay?
Beforehand or after?
Yeah, I think the children could come in and challenge that. Okay, which is why you want to get it in place early, when you know that there's no question as to whether that person was of sound mind and sound body.
There you go. So
that's
it done.
Yeah. Time is one of the enemies. Okay, I talk about, you know, Titanic mistakes in elder law, and that's one of the enemies is time, waiting. Okay, because people are motivated by fear generally. You know, and when they know that crunch is on or they need to do something, that's when they act to do it. We want people to. That's one of the reasons we're doing the radio show. That's why I give talks to churches, to other groups, all the time, is to educate people that we want you to act out of knowledge and logic, and it costs less. And you've got these things done ahead of time. That way you don't find yourself in a crunch saying, oh my gosh, we need to act and do something now because husband, wife, mom, or dad are in this situation. Okay?
And what if the situation is a parent, again, older parent becomes ill, incapacitated, can't take care of themselves? And heaven forbid, what if the children argue, well, I don't want to do it, you do it. Well, I don't want to do it, you do it. I mean, what can happen then?
Yeah, so what you're talking about is it's kind of like a hot potato. Nobody wants that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Or sometimes you have the opposite. Multiple people want that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then who are the healthcare providers supposed to listen to?
Mm-hmm.
Do they listen to this sister or this sister, right? Or this daughter or this daughter?
Right.
You know, this son or this daughter. Who do you listen to? I mean, you can save your children guilt-ridden decisions in trouble by appointing, as I like to say, a chief among all the Indians. And that doesn't mean that that's the final person. You could appoint a couple of very responsible children to be co or work together, okay? Or you can, I like to say, have a deep bench, have one person up to bat making those decisions. Should that person be unavailable or unable to do it or refuse to make those decisions, then you have somebody else appointed that comes off the bench, the next child in line, to make those decisions, for instance. Okay? And you can go as deep as you want to on the bench there and appointing those people. That way those documents grow with you for the rest of your life, okay? And are available to you for the rest of your life.
These are some questions, folks, you may have. If you want to talk to Greg on the radio, maybe it's a sensitive thing and you don't want to talk to Greg because you think, well, somebody will recognize me. You don't have to tell who you are, but somebody will recognize my voice. This is when you can call Greg's office.
This is a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And it's a somber show today.
Yeah,
okay?
It is.
But some of the issues we deal with are that way. Okay? So call my office, 704-259-7040. I deal with these issues on a daily basis. My staff deals with these issues on a daily basis. And we'd love to meet with you. We'd be glad to sit down, hear your situation, and advise you honestly and accordingly. And do so if you call in code word radio, 704-259-7040, and set up a free consult. I'll sit down with you in our office, in our conference room, or at your location. I consider my area anywhere between Asheville and Charlotte, okay? And I burn up the roads covering that area all the time.
And now this is a free 1 hour?
Free 1 hour as long as it takes.
Now, if they want to retain your services, there's no obligation to retain your services.
There's never an obligation to retain my services.
But if they do.
Yeah, I mean, my clients would tell you, we have great clients. We have raving fans, and that's what we want, okay? We want to be your attorneys and elder law advisors for generations, okay? That's what my goal is. And for you to call up, ask me questions. I routinely give my cell phone number to clients so they can call me any time or day or night. I say I'm always on, and I am, because we care so much about our clients. And it's how I take care of my family, and I care that much about my family that I want to really be passionate about it.
Let's see here. We got a call coming in. We'll wing it here and see if this is a call for the show. Okay. Good morning. This radio station. You calling to talk to Greg on the air?
Yes, sir.
All right, Greg. Can you hear the caller?
I can hear her just fine.
Okay. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Sure. That's a great question. May I ask where you're calling from now? Lincolnton. Okay, good. Great to have you calling in from Lincolnton. Love Lincolnton. So, yes, what you want to do is you want to have somebody knowledgeable on wills, okay? So that looks at will, an estate planning attorney or elder law attorney. Elder law is just a specific subset of estate planning, okay? So you want to have somebody take a look at it to make sure it has the fundamental elements for a will. For instance, two people in North Carolina, two witnesses, have to see you sign line of sight. That means can't have looked away, can't be around the corner, can't be in the next room. They got to see you put pen to paper and sign it, along with a notary. So that's three people sitting there that need to see that will signed, okay? If not, then it's invalid, and it can be invalidated in a court of law in North Carolina, okay? There's a number of situations where that might happen. It may not be challenged, but it can be. It needs to say that you're of sound mind and body. It needs to say that you're over 18 years old. So many people will go to online sources or oh, we did this at the plant or things like that. I mean, I see those all the time where we may have to rework something. In the same token, okay, there's other requirements as well. But in the same, in things we might want to look for, in the same breath, I look at wills of people that come in from out of state, and some of them are okay. Some of them comply under the North Carolina statutes. And I say, look, it's up to snuff. It's up to you if you want to redraft it because of some changes or you want to make some changes, but it looks like it's going to do the job. But other things you don't think about, and there is no such thing as a simple will. I love that saying, and it's so true. What happens if you're giving a large amount of money or property or something like that to a loved one, and they're on some type of governmental benefit or support, and that gift is going to totally disqualify them for that benefit or support? Does your will? Well, I'm glad I answered it before you asked it. I love to answer questions before they're asked. What happens in that situation? Well, I'll tell you. Our wills, we allow for a supplemental needs trust to be set up in that situation, and we go ahead and outline that in the will. It's not a one-page, or two-page will, but we set it up so that doesn't happen, so that it can drop directly into a supplemental needs trust to provide for that person's health and well-being, and not disqualify them for any governmental benefit they might be receiving. Any and all of the above, VA aid and attendance, all kind of things. Whatever you might be drawing, whatever the situation might be, whatever benefit it might be, you'd want to take a look at the rules of that benefit before you receive that gift. Or else, the only other option that person might have is renouncing that gift and not taking it, period. Okay? Whereas it could have dropped into a supplemental needs trust that's automatically created by your will to make sure that it provides for that person's health and well-being, pays money to take care of that person while not disqualifying them from the governmental benefit they're receiving. It's a great question. Well, and which brings to mind all kinds of questions on my end. Have you probated those wills? Those are questions we need to talk about. So they've been probated, they're done. Well, as long as they're through the courts, I think there's a 2-year window, something like that, to challenge those types of things, to challenge a will that's been probated. I think if you're outside that window, you're okay to dispose of it. But let me say that with a big asterisk. Okay, save it. I mean, I try to save everything. I mean, it's a just in case measure. Save it or scan it, save it digitally. I'm a huge fan of saving things digitally, so we always have an exact copy to reproduce. But save it, put it in a file drawer, put it in a desk drawer, scan it, keep it on a drive, a thumb drive. But make sure put it on a CD. Make sure you have it just in case. Okay? You may. It's 704 259 7040. I'm in Shelby. It's as easy as 123 West Marion Street. Code word radio. If you call the office, say code word radio, talk to Greg on the radio today. You don't have to talk to me to do it, but just call, and Julia or Anna or one of our other staff people will go ahead, or team members as I like to call them, will go ahead and set you up with an appointment. Okay? And I can meet you somewhere. I can come to Lincolnton. Doesn't matter to me. We have other office spaces we can use in different counties. So we'll work something out for you. It's not that far away. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate the call so much there. It's easy as that. If you've got a question for Greg, for my own benefit, because I'm not familiar a lot. When my father passed away, I was a child. When my mother passed away, my brother handled all the will and everything. Explain to me the word probate. What does that mean? Is it something simple that everybody should know and I don't?
I think it is simple.
Yeah. Once probate, the will has been probated.
Let me break it down for you the way that I have it broken down in my mind. Okay? I like to boil things down. The KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? I like to keep things simple.
Oh yeah, I heard that in broadcasting.
There you go. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. And so you know, to probate something, you need a will. So if there is a valid will, and you file it at what? Not file it, but yes, okay, file it. Not just record it, but file it. Open an estate at the courthouse for probate. That's the probate process. If there's a will. If there's no will, then that estate can be administered. Which is still opening an estate at the courthouse, saying, look, there's no will. We need to appoint an administrator. It needs to be this family member. This is why. Then you're under what's called the intestate succession statutes in North Carolina, which our lawmakers, who I know we all know they have our best interest at heart, and they've all set up statutes to pass things to us the way we want. No, I mean,
you're smiling.
Aside, I think we got some pretty good lawmakers right now, but statewide, but you know, but the thing is, you want to be able to pass things yourself the way you want to pass them. I love passing things outside of administration and probate. If I set it up correctly, I hope the last thing you or your loved ones are going to have to worry about is the probate process. Because things are going to be transferable upon death assets. Your home, your land, everything is going to be able to just go straight where it's supposed to, just like an insurance policy. Because when you open up the probate process, what do you have to do? You got to advertise it in the paper for 90 days if it's over a certain amount. I'm sorry, you got to advertise in the paper once every week for 4 weeks, and then it's got to remain open for liens to come in for 90 days. Okay? I mean, that's why.
So that's these legal notices we see.
That's right. That's the legal notices you see in the paper.
Yeah.
So why would you want to open up everything you worked for your entire life to be taken away by some lien, when you can pass it directly, transferable upon death, to a loved one? And there's ways to do that. There's rather simple ways to do that. Okay? I love sitting down with someone. I love and I hate it. Okay? If a loved one is passed, when I've done a correct estate plan, and we've done transferable upon death assets for the most part, I'll sit down with the family. Okay? And while it's a sad time, I love easing their pain and making it easier for them, because all I have to do is reassure them that yes, and they have questions, a ton of questions, a list of questions, and we'll sit and talk for 30 minutes, an hour. But in the end, if I've done it right, the answer is have a great day. And they love the fact that they don't have to go to the courthouse. They don't have to probate or administer the estate. They don't have to do anything. It's done. We did it ahead of time, and they don't have anything left to do. Okay?
Yeah. Well, Rick, our time's just about up. Got 60 seconds or so to put a wrap on things. What would you like to mention here?
I love ending on a positive note, but I wanted to read this letter. This is something I wanted to read. Okay? I hope I can do it in 60 seconds.
That's fine. It's
a letter from a mother to a daughter, all right? And it goes with my thoughts about role reversal or trading places, okay? And how many people are suffering and diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia all the time. My dear girl, the day you see I'm getting old, I ask you to please be patient. But most of all, try to understand what I'm going through. If when we talk, I repeat the same thing 1,000 times, don't interrupt me to say, you said the same thing a minute ago. Just listen to it. Try to remember the times when you were little, and I read the same story to you night after night until you fell asleep. When I don't want to take a bath, don't be mad, and don't embarrass me. Remember when I had to run after you, making excuses and trying to get you to take a shower when you were just a little girl? When you see how ignorant I am when it comes to new technology, give me the time to learn, and don't look at me that way. Remember, honey, I patiently taught you how to do many things, like eating appropriately, getting dressed, combing your hair, and dealing with life's issues every day. The day you see I'm getting old, I ask you to please be patient, but most of all, try to understand what I'm going through. If I occasionally lose track of what we're talking about, give me the time to remember. And if I can't, don't be nervous, impatient, or arrogant. Just know in your heart that the most important thing for me is to be with you. And when my old, tired legs don't let me move as quickly as before, give me your hand the same way that I offered mine to you when you first walked. When those days come, don't feel sad. Just be with me and understand me while I get to the end of my life with love. I'll cherish and thank you for the gift of time and joy we shared, with a big smile and the huge love I've always had for you. I just want to say, I love you, my darling daughter.
That's good to end on there. That's very cool.
Third time I've read it and the only time I've gotten through it.
There you go. I understand. All right, folks, we thank you for tuning in today to Elder Law with Greg McIntyre. Again, Greg, tell them how to contact you for the consultation and the code word and everything.
Sure. If you'd like to sit down and talk to me, give me a call at our Shelby office at 123 West Marion Street at the phone number 704-259-7040. Use the code word radio for a free consultation.
All right, folks. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
That was good. That was a good letter. Good appropriate way to end up on.
I tried to read it this morning to myself. And I couldn't finish the last quarter, I think.
People are talking about weddings.
Thanks. I'll try to come with a cheerier issue next
That's
week, okay?
fine. And I hope you get some
Great caller today. That was a great
That was
call.
a good call. But I'm glad she called. We should add some more.
Me too.
Do you want to hang on for a copy of the program?
I'd love a copy.
I'll send you the CD
And
here.
I'm not worried about it. I think a lot of you have a great listening audience, and have you taken steps to protect?
There's a lot of things that people
do not
like that lady, brought a question I was going to ask you before she called. And she,
Thanks for tuning in.
but another question.